Hello BookTube! It's Friday again already and I have had a huge week. I have only just finished my book Winter, which is the small one which I chose because I knew I was having a huge week, but I tried to read it last night and the night before, but both times I was so exhausted that I couldn't actually get into the story at all because I just couldn't read the words and get the comprehension. It just wasn't sinking in for me at all and I had no idea what I was reading. So I just ended up going to bed at like 9:30 and I think one of the days was almost 8:30. I was so exhausted from doing my work that I couldn't possibly read the book in time. But then I got home this afternoon after a pretty okay day and then some drinks with some friends, and I managed to come home and fully just read the book real quick, and I'm going to film the review now and edit for you, and it's all going to be amazing. Just quick heads up, I work as an archaeological field assistant. For the last 3 days I've been lifting buckets and digging holes and just generally be covered in dirt, so that's why I'm so dirty and high-vis at the moment. You should have seen my boots earlier. So the book I've read this week is Winter by John Marston, and I have read this a while ago and I'd forgotten the main premise and storyline, but I knew that I loved it. So as I was reading it, about halfway through I got to a point where I was like, oh, I remember exactly what happens. And I remembered the sort of plot twist that was in it, and that was really cool. That I had forgotten it was, for one thing, was weird because kind of shocking, but it was really well done, I think, and it kind of, you can see how it leads up to it now, that knowing what was coming, I was like, oh yeah, I see that. But I remember the shock the first time I read it. I was much younger and I was just so, like, the feelings were quite intense in the book and I thought that, you know, I would never forget that, but in time I did, and then I got that nice surge of memory come through. So this book is only 135 pages. It's a little story and it's just so neat and put together in a way that really just tells the story. Like, there's no embellishment, there's nothing that you don't need, it's just the bare bones of the story, and I really like that. It's got it's a coming home novel and it's sort of a romance, but that's not the main themes of the book. The main themes of the book are that Ellie, who is not Ellie, Ellie's from the other one. So the main themes are that Winter is an orphan and she's coming back to her property that was left to her, and she's just 16 and she's learning all about her family and her past and fixing up her house and the property. It was really weird because this book has Canberra in it and I live in Canberra and it keeps making reference to the city, and it was really strangely close to home, and some of the scenes they describe is very Australian outback sort of stuff where I knew what the scrub looked like. I could imagine the fence line she was walking across, and the driveways, my god, I imagine like the long driveways, I've seen them, I've walked them, like that's really cool. A lot of books that I read aren't actually Australian, so it's really nice just to kind of have something from home. So it's all first person and it's very much the story from Winter's perspective, which is really cool, and I like that the author is a grown man, like probably in his 30s or 40s at the time of writing it, and he just kind of really got into the language and the mind space of a 16-year-old girl, which when I first read it really blew my mind. I was like, how can this possibly happen? But now, as more of a writer now, I can see how that happens quite well. But he does it very well. He's very eloquent with his words, but he puts in enough likes and like words that would be associated with a 16-year-old girl. So it worked. It really came through in the end, I think. One thing I like about books is their cover designs, but I really like it when they've got this awkward cover. Like, I usually don't like the covers themselves, like actually having this piece of paper is annoying to me, but then when you see a book that just looks like this, that's just plain and kind of old school, it's really nice. And I think if I ever get a book published, I want that to happen. Like, I want to have a book with a really plain front cover and then a beautiful jacket, much like this one. I also love the name Winter. It's one of my baby names. If I ever have babies, it's going to be Winter and William. And I'm not sure if the inspiration came from this book because there's a couple of other books with the name Winter as well. And one named Rain, who's also going to be one of my baby names. You know, you have your favourite names. The character in this book that's the love interest, Matthew, is really like charming and happy. Like I really like that about him, is that she's sort of this hormonal teenager and she's really cranky and over exerts herself over everything, and he just kind of played her along and then was all happy and nice, and I really liked that. That was a nice juxtaposition of characters. That was good. I just think he's a glorious writer, and if you do have a favourite John Marsden book, please tell me below in the comments. I really liked the Tomorrow When the War Began series, but I didn't really like the Ellie Chronicles, which is sort of like a follow-on series from the series. So I don't know why I didn't like the Ellie Chronicles. Maybe now as I'm a bit older I should reread it and see how I'm going. So that's my spoiler-free review of Winter by John Marsden, and I hope you all enjoyed it. I'm gonna go take a shower, get out of this dirt, and I will talk to you again on Monday. Subscribe for more content such as this. Bye, BookTube. Oh, I love the neck grime. So dirty. Okay. Span out.